You are Locked On Warriors Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KNBR. And how the hell did that just happen? The Golden State Warriors somehow hold off the NBA's best team tonight on the back end of a back-to-back, taking down the OKC Thunder 116-109. And they did it without Draymond, and they did it without Jonathan Kuminga. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 52 points, was getting everything he wanted offensively, but the Dubs defense clamped down on the rest of the OKC Thunder, especially from the three-point line. And meanwhile, three-point shooting for the Golden State Warriors was again a big factor as they hit 9 in the second half after making just 4 in the first half, a big difference in this one. And Andrew Wiggins played so aggressively tonight, led the team in scoring, and delivered a huge dagger three ball with just under a minute 30 left in this one. This is by far the most impressive win for the Warriors this season, and it gives them a little bit of life just ahead of the trade deadline. Can this get any more interesting for the Warriors right now? We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed and making us your first listen following these Dubs games. Make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. In this one, I mean, that fourth quarter was just back and forth. And thankfully for the Warriors, they were able to end that third quarter tied with the Thunder, because still they're 1-20 when they enter that fourth quarter trailing. But tonight, man, I mean, if they weren't trailing entering the fourth quarter, maybe this one would have been a little bit different for the Warriors given how this season has gone. But I mean, it's that third quarter was just incredible for the Warriors. They went on this huge run. It was like a 27-10 run that spanned from like the end of the second quarter until like about 5 minutes left in the third. They had an 11-0 run in the middle of that, and the Warriors defense was the thing that was leading the charge in this one, because the Thunder, they're a team that loves these offensive rebounds, and the Warriors had all sorts of opportunities to get out and run in transition and get some easy buckets tonight. And that's exactly what they did. The fast break points, the Warriors won 18-5. That was a huge key in this one. And as you saw late in this game, when the Thunder were really battling for those, fourth and fifth offensive rebounds that they were getting on certain possessions, I mean, the Thunder really beat up the Warriors on the boards tonight. They had 50 total rebounds, 17 offensive boards. I mean, just so many rebounds tonight for the Thunder. And the way that the Warriors kind of countered that was when they finally would get the ball in their possession, you'd see Brandon Podziemski flashing down to the other end for an easy bucket. You'd see Buddy Hield out in transition, dishing it out to Kyle Anderson or any number of Warriors role players that really stepped up tonight. But nobody stepped up, as far as role players go, more than Kevon Looney. And man, any chance I get to talk about Loon Dog, I'm going to take it on the Locked On Warriors postcast. But man, my guy Kevon Looney, a plus 14 plus minus, tied for the Warriors team lead with Andrew Wiggins, who we'll get to in a minute. But 18 big points off the bench, a career high, tied his career high, 18 points off the bench. He also had 4 blocks, man. This guy was all over the place on the interior. He had only 3 boards, but it felt like he was involved on every single play, just battling Hartenstein and trying to box out. He was 5 of 7 from the field, a couple assists as well. And of course, all of those screen assists that he collects so often with Steph. He was, just invaluable to the Warriors with the hustle, with the heart tonight. And I mean, when you're missing a guy like Draymond Green, you need somebody to step up and give you that energy. And in past nights, it's been Guy Santos. Guy didn't really have, the best, most impactful night tonight, although he did have 7 rebounds. How the hell does that guy get so many rebounds so fast? But Looney, man, gave you that heart and soul that the Warriors are missing without Draymond. I cannot believe that the Warriors won this freaking game tonight, man. Like, I mean, I had been saying all for like a week leading up to this game, this was a scheduled loss for the Warriors. Back end of a back-to-back, no Draymond, no Jonathan Kuminga, and Steph is banged up with a thumb. He's missing games. He's managing the injury. The Warriors started Quinton Post tonight in his first career NBA start, for God's sakes, and he still somehow won this game. Post only had 8 minutes, also did not put up a shot. Not the best night for Quinton Post. 2 turnovers is the only thing that really showed up in the box score, along with 3 fouls. So not the best night for Quinton Post. He'll have better nights as his career goes on, hopefully with the Warriors. But man, everybody on this team contributed in big ways tonight. Again, another night with like 40 plus points off the bench for the Warriors. You forget that they're still leading the league in bench scoring, because they've kind of, the bench was so overproductive in the beginning of the season, and it fell off a little bit there, kind of went back to reality. But you're kind of seeing some of that production still, especially now that Pods is back. Also, another great game from Brandon Podziemski. He had a phenomenal showing tonight, again, with 18 minutes, 11 points, in some huge buckets in the non-Steph minutes. We'll get to some of that in a minute. But man, this whole Warriors team really delivered. And in those waning minutes, like in those closing minutes of that fourth quarter, the Warriors really just hit all the shots that you needed them to hit. And that is something that we have not seen them do really, frankly, at all this season. I mean, Steph is Steph, and he was being Steph Curry tonight. He was finally started to hit some of those threes in that fourth quarter, in that second half, after really being down and out in that first half. Total 6 of 14 from the field, 43%. Not that bad, but in the first half, he was just 1 of 7 from the field. And in the second half, he was 5 of 7 from the field, all from beyond the 3-point line. So Steph really delivered for the Warriors there in that second half, and especially in that fourth quarter, in the waning moments. Steph hit 3 huge threes in that fourth quarter. And I mean, he wasn't alone. Pods with like a deep step back too. I mean, he had some nice buckets in transition as well. I mean, this Warriors team, he had a big 3, but no single shot was bigger than the Andrew Wiggins 3-pointer with about 1:30 to go. And that was the dagger. And you saw Steph just lose his mind after Wiggins drained that one. And then just to add, the perfect cherry on top at the very end of this one was that Gary Payton II, the young glove poster on Isaiah Hartenstein. Man, he just threw down the sledgehammer, an absolute wrecking ball of a slam dunk to just put the emphatic exclamation point on this win for the Golden State Warriors. And man, it has got to feel so good to finally have a little bit of something going. Like, the Warriors have now won 3 of their last 4. They're rolling a little bit right now, and this was exactly what you hoped for when the Warriors were coming home for this 9-game stint in the state of California. And it got off to an innocuous start. You beat the Wizards, and then you lose to the Celtics, lose to the Kings, and you're looking at the Bulls, the Lakers, the Thunder, the Suns, and the Magic coming up, and you were thinking maybe this ends up being a losing homestand. And now you're looking at maybe being able to come out of this thing on top, not just treading water, sitting around 500, but you're thinking maybe the Warriors come out of this with a little bit of momentum. Maybe the Warriors go out, and because they feel like they have some of this momentum now, they add a little something at the to kind of complement Steph Curry. There's more and more names being linked to the Warriors by the day. Not really more names. It's kind of just the same names being kicked around constantly, just in a carousel. It's the Jimmy Butlers, the Vucevic's, and of course, Zach LaVine is forever linked to the Warriors as well. Seems like his name gets brought up in trade conversations every single year with the Dubs. But maybe, just maybe, because you have this team rolling a little bit, it makes you believe that you can buy into maybe trading for somebody, maybe making a little bit of a push to try and get over that hump and into a actual legitimate 7-game playoff series. Who knows, man? I mean, when the Warriors play like this, it really kind of makes you think that they might have something. And Andrew Wiggins, I mean, when he plays like this, it is night and day different for this Warriors team. With this win, I mean, Andrew Wiggins really showed you what the world could be like if he just turned that switch on every single night. 27 points for Wiggs, 10 of 17 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3-point range. There was no hesitation in his game tonight. Like, there was not a single, even for a beat, was Wiggins thinking, maybe I should defer or anything like that. I mean, this guy was catching and shooting even when he didn't have a ton of space, and he was draining them, man. And when he had, that real estate in front of him between him and the defender, he didn't kind of pause and see what the defender was going to do before he made his decision. he made the defender's decision for him. He either put that shot up or he put the ball on the deck and drove to the hole. And man, Wiggins did great tonight. And just one other in general area that the Warriors like really shocked me, free throw shooting. The Warriors made more free throws tonight than the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Shai got to the line 21 times on his own. And the Warriors not only shot more free throws than the Thunder, but they made them at a higher rate, 82% on free throws for the Dubs as opposed to just 80% for the Thunder. And that is, I mean, this type of game, I did not know that the Warriors had it in them. They have, for the last couple months, they've shown that they didn't really have this type of game in them. But tonight, man, the Warriors really showed you what this team could be when all of these pieces start to work together, when all these parts kind of just gel. And the Warriors, I mean, they had to have every single piece of contribution from this team if you were going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is just the 6th loss of the season for the Thunder. And man, I mean, the Warriors really, I mean, on the strength of that third quarter run in the fourth quarter, I mean, just trading buckets after buckets. I mean, the non-Steph minutes in the fourth quarter where Brandon Podziemski and company kind of kept these Warriors afloat. The transition points, it was amazing to watch these Warriors kind of get this done tonight. I thought this was a scheduled loss. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was just doing his thing. And man, oh man, was that frustrating to watch all night long. Just the ticky-tack fouls, the baiting fouls, all the things that the NBA is supposed to be getting rid of. Seemed like Shai was just leaning into all of that. So that is actually what I want to get into next. I mean, how frustrating was this game to watch for you as a Warriors fan? Because I know for me, this thing just aggravated the hell out of me. I'll explain next. Even though the Warriors won and I'm elated that they won, watching this game was far from enjoyable at times. I'll explain on the other side of the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Attending NFL playoff games is an unforgettable experience that brings fans together. In past years, when the 49ers have actually been in the playoffs, they've had some unforgettable matchups, and I'm sure they'll be back next season with some more high drama. But when you're looking for tickets, high drama is the last thing you need. And for drama-free experience, I go with Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets even easier for events. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I recently used Game Time Picks to check out some Warriors tickets since the 49ers are cooked. Browsing through the deals was simple, and I found great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. The Super Deal was especially impressive, offering the best value for the event. The app's features like seat views before you buy and all-in pricing with no surprise fees at checkout made the experience smooth and reliable. Plus, the on-time ticket delivery and lowest price guarantee gave me peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight the Warriors, somehow, some way, grit and grind their way to a win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 116-109. This defense was really good. We got to talk about the defense a little bit later in the show, especially on the three-point line. But man, before I get to that, I just got to kind of vent a little bit, man, because I was getting so incredibly frustrated watching this game as a Warriors fan, because just watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get the softest whistle in all of the NBA, just get the friendliest whistle. I mean, this guy gets breathed on. Incidental contact happens in the NBA. If you drive into somebody and jump into them, that is not supposed to be a foul in today's NBA. But for whatever reason, it seems like officials are just sitting there waiting for him to kind of jump into another player. And before the contact is even really being made in some situations, feels like the whistle's already being blown. And for a guy who's watched Steph Curry throughout his entire career just get absolutely hacked, obliterated, just thrown to the ground constantly, game after game after game. It seems like Steph just, he ends up with all these cuts and just bloodied after games, and you'll look and you'll be like, oh, you went to the line twice tonight or once. And it's just, it just blows my mind how certain guys get rewarded for just jumping into dudes. And this has happened, throughout plenty of Warriors, adversaries throughout the years have done this. James Harden was the number one culprit, and nothing aggravated me more than watching a James Harden Rockets team go, quote, toe-to-toe with Steph Curry, meaning Steph was going to do amazing things from three-point range with Klay Thompson, and James Harden was going to be a free throw merchant and shoot 30, shots from the charity stripe. And it seems like Shai does a lot of that same stuff. And I have no idea why he gets away with what he gets away with. And I'm not trying to take away anything from this guy. He drives to the bucket more than anybody in the NBA, and he gets rewarded for it. I'm not saying that Steph is the same kind of player or anything like that, but man, oh man, is it hard to watch a guy go in there repeatedly, time after time after time, and just get a dirty look from someone and get a foul called. Whereas Steph goes in there, gets, tackled by a 7-footer, and we're just kind of play on. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it, man. It is not entertaining at all in the least bit, watching this guy just constantly go to the line and shoot free throws, but it is effective. He had 52 points tonight. If I told you going into this game, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to score 52 points and make 16 shots from the field, that the Warriors were going to win, would you have believed me at all? This is an insane win for the Warriors. Jalen Williams also had 26 points. It's not like the Warriors really stopped those two guys at all, but they stopped everybody else on this team. Isaiah Joe also had 17. He had 5 of 10 from three-point land, so he had a lot of points from beyond the arc, as he usually does against the Warriors. Certified Warrior killer, as Bob Fitzgerald loves to point out on the broadcast every single time these two teams play. But guys like Lou Dort, like Isaiah Hartenstein, like Cason Wallace, like these guys did not hurt you tonight. And so, the other Jalen Williams, non-Santa Clara Jalen Williams, also only held to 2 points on no made field goals from the floor. And Aaron Wiggins also only 2 points. So the Warriors did a great job of limiting all of the other role players on this team besides Shai and Jalen Williams from Santa Clara, and obviously Isaiah Joe, who's just always going to seemingly make like 4 or 5 threes against the Warriors every single time these teams play. But great job to the Warriors defense. A lot of credit to the Warriors defense for how they stepped up tonight. And it just still frustrates the hell out of me, especially when the Warriors were playing such good defense, man. Like to just have this guy get bailed out time after time after time. It is not, it's bailing out bad offense too. Like when the play is just dead, it seems like Shai just kind of like throws his body into someone in the lane, and it's just, the whistle is so friendly to him that he gets rewarded for doing these very like non-basketball type moves when he's driving to the bucket. And for the life of me, it just baffles me. I cannot understand why the NBA continues to reward this type of play when it openly says that they're trying to not do that anymore. So, the NBA, I don't know what a foul is and what a foul isn't. It is so damn inconsistent. It feels like it gets worse and worse every week that I watch this product. And like last year, towards the end of the season, kind of made a very, specific change. Like it was, you could tell that officials were holding their whistles a bit more towards the end of the season. Like there was a clear definitive change in how these games were officiated in the second half of last season. And I'm really hoping that after the All-Star break, we get the same kind of thing this year, because I'm so tired of watching this, man. Like this is not entertaining basketball, and it is so frustrating to watch because it's a good strategy. Don't get me wrong. It works. He scored 52 points tonight, and it's a great way to disrupt a team's offensive rhythm. Like whenever the Warriors would get in a flow, when they'd start to go on a run, Shai would just do this, and he'd just slow the game down, bring it down to a snail's pace, just grinding halt. And he'd get his shots from the free throw line, and he makes them. He converts them. You can't knock him for being effective. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And I get the strategy from the Oklahoma City Thunder perspective. Like you keep doing what works until someone tells you can't do that anymore, or until someone stops you. And no one's stopping this, and no one's going to stop this except for the NBA changing how they officiate these types of calls. Because you can always drive the lane and jump into somebody. Like there's always going to be a body there for you to fall into. And I guess that's always going to draw you a foul if you're Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the Oklahoma City Thunder. But one guy who just won't ever get those calls is Stephen Curry. No matter how much he just gets mugged, beat up, and all these things. Like there was an era where teams were openly saying that they were like trying to hurt Steph, like trying to just be overly physical with him and to throw him off his game. And even during that era, he barely got those calls. Steph was, I don't understand. I don't understand what he has to do to get the respect of like any other superstar in this NBA as far as the foul calls. But, he's 36. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But hey, SGA got rewarded with the whistles tonight, but the Warriors got rewarded with the win. And the big reason for that, the biggest reason, we can talk about all the points, Steph Curry's fourth quarters, his second half, and in the three-pointers. We can talk about Andrew Wiggins and his aggressiveness, his 27 points and 17 shots in 38 minutes. We can talk about Kevon Looney and his career-high 18 points. We can talk about Pods and his continued impressive play on his return from injury. We can talk about GP2 and the 15 points that he gave you and the emphatic dunk at the end there. But the number one reason why the Warriors won this game is not because of scoring. It was because of their defense. We'll break it down next on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Tonight, the Warriors with the most unexpected, surprising, bamboozling, shocking, just awesome win of the season. 116-109 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. And man, oh man, everybody on this team just looked elated after this game. It was like just the floodgates of joy just opened for this team, because this was such a game that everybody had written them off in. And it was, I even said on last night's show, this is a scheduled L. It's the back end of a back-to-back. You've got tons of injuries. You're playing the best team in the NBA. They have only 5 losses on the road all season coming into tonight. And the Warriors, 1 game over 500 at home and ailing and playing a lot of games in a short period of time. This was a recipe for a disastrous loss. I was really bracing for a 25, 30-point, shellacking at the hands of the Thunder. And tonight, the Warriors, that storm blew on out of here before it could get brewing for Oklahoma City. The Warriors got it rolling in that third quarter, and in that fourth quarter, they put the Thunder away. And really, these big runs that they went on, they also went on a nice little run in the second quarter, too, to come back from being down 10 at the end of the first quarter. And really, the Warriors' defense was the thing that led the way on these runs. It's the thing that kept them close enough in that first quarter to keep them in this game. The Thunder, they hit 9 3-pointers tonight. That's not, not a ton, but that's not nothing. But they took 39 shots, 23% from 3-point range. The Warriors, in the second half especially, really stopped letting the Thunder get other buckets inside. If Shea was going to drive to the lane and jump into a body and throw up a shot, they were, that was pretty unstoppable. But they weren't letting all the other guys get inside and get those easy buckets anymore. They were, they kind of said, Shea, you go do you. We're going to stop everybody else. And that's really what this Warriors team did. They held the Thunder as a whole to just 40% shooting from the field. And if you hold teams to 40% shooting from the field and 23% shooting from the 3-point line, you're going to win a lot of games, especially when you shoot better than them on the free throw line. And that is a huge, 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 huge marker for the Warriors tonight. The fact that you beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in all 3 of these categories, you beat them in shooting percentage from the floor. The Warriors shot damn near 50% from the floor. That is, if they could do this every night, that would just make me the happiest person in the world. And they would probably be a playoff team if they could play like this every night. But the problem is replicating these types of performance from bench players. There's a reason that you're not going to get 18 points from Kevon Looney every single night, or 15 from GP2, or 27 from Andrew Wiggins. All of these variables are very variable. So for the Warriors to be able to put all of it together tonight, it's just very satisfying. It shows you what this team, what it could be when you conceptualize this team, what it was for that first 15 games of the season when they started out 12-3, and they looked like maybe they were going to be a legitimate contender in the NBA playoffs this year. But tonight, you kind of got back to that a little bit. And the Warriors defense really, the intensity on virtually everybody, there were no easy shots from beyond the arc. The closeouts were great. And the Warriors really, kind of baited the Thunder into taking a lot of these threes that were not very good shots early in the shot clock, and kind of got them out of their rhythm, got them out of their offensive flow. And you saw what the Thunder ultimately had to do was just cling to the SGA life buoy and hope that he could drag you along to victory. And the Warriors, they weren't going to let that happen. And credit the Thunder for the way that they've constructed this team, because they have so many pieces on this team that all kind of function and work together, and they have so many first-round draft picks in the next few years. This team is just going to continue to get better and better and better. I still think they're the odds-on favorite to win the NBA championship, but this has to be the most satisfying win of the year for the Warriors. it gives you just enough hope to also that you start to really consider one of those three options that we talked about earlier, the Jimmy Butler, the Nikola Vucevic, or the Zach LaVine trades that are all kind of floating around in the ether. Do you pull the trigger on any of these guys? I mean, I personally, Vucevic has to be the number one option of those three. Jimmy Butler, it's interesting, but I mean, I think that's just, I mean, it's getting an older player to come in and mix in with all these other older players. I don't know if I like that move so much. I like Vucevic because he's still, got some miles left on that body. And he's also someone that the Warriors can maybe keep around here for a little bit of time. If he enjoys playing alongside Steph, which I think, most bigs are probably going to enjoy playing alongside a guy like Steph, then maybe he sticks around and stays. And that's, I think, something that you could roll the dice on. I don't know about Zach LaVine. I don't know about the fit. It concerns me that the Bulls have been shopping him for over a year and they haven't really been able to get a trade done for him. I don't know. I don't know about Zach LaVine and how he would fit with how ball dominant he is and all those things. Vucevic is the option. A stretch five, a big guy who can just set wipeout screens and Steph can play off of him. You assume very, very well he's what you want Quentin Post to be, but Quentin Post is still, remember, a second-round draft pick, 52nd pick in the draft, and he's a rookie. And maybe someday he does develop into that pick-and-pop center that you really hope he can be, and he can, be the next great European three-point shooting center. But for now, for this season, he's a nice story. He got his first NBA start tonight, and he's played well in recent games. Not very impactful tonight, but it's a good story. But that's all it is for right now. He's not a viable, legitimate option for the Warriors to use as a center on an every night basis. It's going to take a lot of time for him playing alongside Steph to figure out how to do all the things that he should be doing alongside Steph. But maybe you pull the trigger on Vucevic because you start to get some momentum from this homestand. You start to get some momentum from this win specifically. I mean, this is the type of win that can really turn around your thought about like your belief system in yourself, in your teammates, and the guys around you. This could really get into the Warriors' heads as like, hey, we can beat anybody on any given night. We can go out there and win, and it's going to be really hard to beat this team in a 7-game series if they do get to that point. So maybe this is just what the front office needed to make them believe that they need to pull the trigger on a deal to go get another superstar in here alongside Stephen Curry. But for tonight, man, what a win for the Warriors. The most exciting win of the season, 116-109 at Chase Center. And the Warriors, man, they did it in that second half. They won the third quarter. They won the fourth quarter. Hey, they even won the second quarter. But, I mean, closing out games has been hard for the Warriors all year long. We all know about, Steph's, viral reaction to hearing from Danny Emmerman that they've, the Warriors are only 1-20 in games where they've trailed entering the fourth quarter. Really big deal that the Warriors were able to keep this thing tied entering that fourth quarter and were able to pull this one out. I mean, ended up winning this one in that final frame, 32-25 when you had 12 minutes left and just go get it. The Warriors got it done. Steph Curry was awesome hitting those threes, and Andrew freaking Wiggins, man, please, for the love of God, play this aggressive every single night for the rest of your Warriors career, because every time you do, the Warriors seem to win. So hopefully the Warriors can turn this into a nice little bit of momentum, and they can piece together a little winning streak, something we haven't seen since, November, early December. So, I mean, the Warriors need some life. We know this, and they're getting some life infused into them right now. Next up is the Suns. You play Kevin Durant and the Suns, and they just battled with the Bulls tonight, looking for a final score on that one. The Suns fell to the Wolves, 121-113. So the Suns coming off that loss, and they'll have to go up against the Warriors on Friday, and hopefully the Warriors can get this one done. We won't be having a show for you on this Friday. I'll be out of town, but we'll be right back at it on Monday when the Warriors play their next game. So make sure you're tuning in on Monday when we continue the show. Until then, that's all the time that we got for you guys today. We'll be back at it Monday when they play the Orlando Magic, 7 p.m. Thanks for tuning in to the Locked On Warriors postcast, making us your first listen following these Warriors games. Make sure for your second listen, you check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show. Charlie Walter does a great job. For tonight, I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. The Warriors win over the OKC Thunder. How the hell did they do that? I mean, we just spent 30 minutes talking about how they did that, and I'm still so confused how the hell this happened. Shea scores 52. The Warriors don't have Draymond, don't have Kuminga, and they still win 116-109 over the Oklahoma City Thunder on the back end of a back-to-back nonetheless. Absolutely crazy stuff. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.